I can tell you the number one mistake that we see without question, and it boggles my mind that this could be a mistake, to be honest with you. It blows me away that people are throwing money away this way. We have audited literally thousands of Google Ads accounts. That feels really weird to say, to be honest with you. But I mean, over the course of all of our students, all of our prospects, all of our clients, years and years and years in this business, there have been thousands of Google Ads accounts that we've had our eyes on between me and the strategist inside of Solutions 8. And I can tell you the number one mistake that we see without question, and it boggles my mind that this could be a mistake, to be honest with you. It blows me away that people are throwing money away this way. The number one mistake we see is, can you guess? Conversion tracking. It's conversion tracking. Can you believe it's something so simple? Can you believe it's something so simple? No conversion tracking or improper conversion tracking. And y'all, it's $1 trillion machine learning mechanism that uses the information it's gathering in order to yield results for you, and not tracking conversions is flying blind. It's actually... It's worse than doing something like radio, television, newspaper, because with those mediums, you know you're not tracking conversions, and so you're set up to measure accordingly. With Google Ads, not tracking conversions, and then optimizing, it's in the name, maximize conversions, maximize conversion value. Well, I've chosen not to track conversions, actually. I like to live dangerously. 50% of the accounts that we audit either have no conversion tracking in place whatsoever, which just blows me away, or the conversion tracking is set up so poorly that the data is absolutely worthless. And y'all, this happens more times than I care to tell you. And it happens in sophisticated accounts. You know, a lot of DIYers for sure, but agency-built accounts. There's a couple of really big agencies out there that just do an abysmal, horrible job at this. If you did nothing but set up proper conversion tracking, here's what's scary. For me, not for you. If you did nothing but set up proper conversion tracking, on a long enough timeline, you might not necessarily need an agency. Now, that's going to stop being true as Google continues to drop conversions. Conversion tracking right now, by the way, is hard. It's interesting to see what happened post iOS 14, privacy first, deprecation of cookies, Google moving towards their, what they're refusing to call FLoC now, which I think is so funny. What little conversion data you can capture, you absolutely need to have. You absolutely need to have, because what's happening is, because we are restricted from a data perspective, the little conversion data that you're capturing ends up being absolute gold. So here are the best practices for conversion tracking. 1, use Google Ads. Google Ads allows you to track conversions within Google Ads via Google Tag Manager. Do not use Google Analytics as your primary conversion tracking. Google Analytics is flawed. It's effectively last click attributed, even though it has its own attribution windows. And I'm not telling you not to track inside of Google Analytics. What I'm telling you to do is track inside of Google Ads and then use Google Analytics to reconcile against. That way you have kind of a sense of the rising tides. But be forewarned, Analytics is going to routinely drop about 30% of your conversions or more. And you'll see this. If you've used Google Ads alongside Google Analytics, you'll see that Google Analytics is always lagging behind. Always, 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 always. So use Google Ads, and you'll open those windows up. I'm talking 90, 30, 30. And when you're building your conversion actions, what you're doing is you're telling Google what conversion windows to use. There's very few reasons these days to use narrow conversion windows, especially because everything is so multi-click, multi-variant, multi-page. People take time to buy. I wrote a tweet today, a Twitter thread, and in so doing, I was doing some research and found out that Google identified the path to purchase for a candy bar was 20 clicks, 20 touches to buy a candy bar. It's insane. For an airline ticket, it's 500. So you need to make sure that you're opening up your attribution windows as wide as you possibly can. And have 3 points of data at a minimum. Google Ads, number 1. Google Analytics, number 2. Number 3 is your CRM and or CMS. What you're doing is you're triangulating, right? Like you're figuring out, like, okay, so here's a data point, here's a data point, here's a data point. And then that kind of gives me some semblance of what's going on from a truthful perspective. And if you want extra credit, you're going to go get yourself an attribution software. This is not a glitch. I'm interrupting the video you're watching because I want to remind you that we provide done-for-you Google Ads services. We're the #1 ranked Google Ads agency on the planet with almost $100 million in ad spend under management. If you're an entrepreneur, business owner, C-level exec, director of marketing, and you're managing your own Google Ads, I think that's a massively inefficient use of your time. As a matter of fact, in my experience, within 90 days, we're able to optimize existing campaigns to a point to where we're paying for ourselves. We move from being a cost center to a profit center. And I want to put my time and my money where my mouth is. If you're spending $10,000 $1,000 a month or more in Google Ads, I want to offer you a free, no obligation action plan. A high-level member of my team, one of our strategists, will look at your account, open the hood, and do a full diagnostic and explain everything that we would recommend that you change in order to optimize your campaigns. You can take that, do it yourself, you can hand it to an internal member of your team, or in an ideal world, you can hire us. I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. Please go to sol8.com. That's SOL, the number 8.com. Request your free action plan. Until then, back to your regularly scheduled program. I like Northbeam. I happen to be an investor in Northbeam. So I'm obviously partial, but I was a user before I was an investor. And I think that says a lot. Like, we were using this thing, became so hot to trot that we went and threw money at them. So I think Northbeam's amazing. Talked to the guy on Wicked Reports, actually, the other day on perpetual traffic. Really liked what he had to say. I haven't used Wicked Reports yet personally, but there are tools and software applications out there that are meant to act as a single source of truth. Go check out those applications and see what you can do in order to help yourself capture the conversion data you need in order to make the decisions that you're making. And by the way, we're all now mermen and women, right? Like, if you haven't watched John's video on marketing efficiency ratio, it's an absolute prerequisite. Go back and watch that video. I'll make sure to link to it in the description of this one, because that's the paradigm that you need to assume. So, is conversion tracking important? Yes, critically important. Can conversion data be trusted? No, not at all. So we need the conversion tracking so you can tell, so Google knows who's buying and will replicate those conversion actions. But it's almost like giving the hunting dog the sniff of what it is that it needs to hunt. That doesn't mean you're still not gonna be able to see everything, but your campaigns are gonna improve by orders of magnitude, because Google now actually knows who to go after. And when reconciling your conversion data, make sure you're paying attention to attribution models, because all of these applications are going to have different modeling, different tracking. So, first click versus last click are two entirely different maps. They're entirely different knowledge graphs. Incidentally, I'm writing one Twitter thread every single day. So if you're not following me on Twitter, go follow me at Kasim. The last thing I want to say is phone calls. Phone call conversions are a nightmare for Google ad agencies. Most of these agencies, all they're doing is saying anything that lasts over 45 seconds is a conversion, which is a lie. What we like to do is we track and record all calls. And then we listen to those calls and we score them manually. And then we pipe those back into Google, because now we're not giving Google false positives, which is really, really, really important. A call that lasts over 45 seconds could be a solicitor, an angry customer, an existing customer who just clicked on your ad, somebody who thinks that they're calling your competitor because you're bidding on brand K. There's a whole bunch of reasons that 45-second phone calls aren't leads. So don't fall into that trap. Speaking about conversion tracking, clean conversion data is the most important thing you can do inside of the realm of Google Ads. Truly. It's just so massive for the performance of the campaign. And then once you have that clean conversion data, I've actually seen, not all the time, but I've actually seen accounts self-optimize to a point where we're like, yeah, you kind of don't need us. You kind of don't need the agency. We had a guy come to us, actually. He was selling info products on investing. This is as close as I can get without giving his identity away, but spending a significant amount of money doing it. And they just ran outbound display for 9 months, hemorrhaged money for the first 8 of those 9. But then by month 9, Google goes, oh, here's who buys from you. And they ended up having a campaign that was producing top of funnel traffic at, orders of magnitude that would rival Facebook. It was awesome. And it's just because they had conversion tracking set up. They batch and blast let Google, learn over time. They had way more patience than most people do. They did great. I actually ended up not working with them long term. I was like, look, there's not a whole lot more we can do for you. You've optimized this campaign. Proper conversion tracking, so important, so important. The only thing more important than proper conversion tracking is following me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Kasim, and that's all I got. Appreciate y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.
We're going to dive right in. And the topic for today, the discussion topic, is going to be MER, Media Efficiency Ratio. And what MER is, Media Efficiency Ratio, is, think of it like company ROAS. So all cash spend out on paid media versus all revenue in.